Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors! On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we'll be taking a look at the infamous Legacy Collection Turbo Tank from the Clone Wars and setting up this magnificent world-building vehicle in a diorama setting for some action figure photography. So without any further delay, let's take a closer look at the Turbo Tank and all of its features. Taking a look at the packaging, we have the classic Clone Wars style box with a nice illustration of the Turbo Tank front and center wreaking havoc on the battlefield. Several taglines are sprinkled throughout, highlighting the many features of this vehicle, such as the included figure, launching speeder bike, plus electronic lights and sounds. Moving on to the sides and top of the packaging, we have the Star Wars logo and same image of the vehicle as seen before on the front of the box. On the back, we have an excellent image of the Turbo Tank paired with a series of numbered thumbnails that showcase the many interactive features of this world-building release. Naturally, an instruction manual is included and minimal assembly is required in addition to a total of 3 AA batteries. Taking a lightning quick look at the included figure, you can see that it's severely outdated, lacking articulation, and furthermore, sculpted in the animated style that's less than favorable in my opinion. Sadly for this figure, he will not be joining my shelf displays. First seen in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, during the Battle of Kashyyyk and as the events of Order 66 unfold, the Turbo Tank, or sometimes known as the Juggernaut, is an impressive display of Republic firepower. This now classic Star Wars vehicle originated from a concept designed by Joe Johnston for a 10-wheeled tank that would be used by Imperial forces during the Battle of Hoth. While the AT-ATs were used instead, the design would luckily be revisited for the prequel trilogy. Taking a look at the Turbo Tank fully assembled and looking absolutely superb, it's easy to see how this vehicle is ranked as one of the best 375 releases of its time. In fact, it might be safe to say that the Clone Wars Giant ranks within the top 10 list of world-building vehicles. The main body is packed with exceptional sculpting and detail, which can also be found on the simplified gears and sleek design of the wheels. Paint applications are minimal, but it's to be expected for these Clone Wars vehicles from back in the day. The large set of 5 wheels on each side allowed the Turbo Tank to roll over any and all clankers with ease, making it an all-terrain enforcer. As mentioned on the packaging, the Clone Wars Turbo Tank comes with electronic lights and sounds which can be activated by a series of buttons located on the top of the vehicle, and are actually a really nice feature that adds some functional value to this release.
You heard the General. Get ready to turn those clankers into scrap metal. Sir, we're taking heavy fire. All units attack. Let's go. This is it. Scrap 'em! The droid army is in full retreat. Fire at will. You heard the General. Get ready to turn those clankers into scrap metal.
In addition to the lights and sounds, the Clone Wars Turbo Tank has a series of functional doors, compartments, cannons, and firing projectiles that pack a lot of punch for this release. Sadly, one of the cannons on my tank is no longer able to fire the missile, as it seems to have a faulty spring. Fortunately, it still displays very well, and considering this item was bought used and 100% complete, I can't be too upset about this minor setback, especially considering the lower price I paid on the aftermarket. Luckily, the front end missile launcher and rear cannon still work as intended, even though I rarely use these play features. Taking a look at the hidden missile launchers, they are wonderfully engineered, allowing them to be concealed within the tank, rotate nearly 360 degrees, and fire a total of 3 projectile missiles at the push of a button, and can also be easily reloaded and tucked away for safekeeping. The main body of the turbo tank has a total of 4 doors on each side, and one loading ramp located in the rear for the BARC speeder deployment. Each of the doors can be opened easily, allowing clone troopers to interact and be displayed inside of the vehicle, which really makes this a top-notch display piece. The Bark Speeder is an extra plus that really makes you appreciate Star Wars collecting from a long time ago in a collection room far, far away. While it's an older scope that lacks the premium detail collectors are more and more familiar with on modern releases, it still functions very well in my opinion and is a wonderful inclusion for this Clone Wars juggernaut. Vehicles that are able to provide a space for figures to interact and be displayed in is the essence of world building in 375 Star Wars collecting. This is the way. Here you can see the Clone Wars Turbo Tank nicely displayed with premium vintage collection figures. The 212th Clone Trooper 4-pack pairs very well with this classic prequel trilogy and Clone Wars vehicle. Here you can see Lieutenant Waxer nicely displayed in the cockpit of the Turbo Tank, along with members of his platoon who are able to easily pilot the vehicle and even have a space to stash their blasters alongside them. Towards the back, you can see a main staging area that has a few more members of the 212th prepped and waiting to debark for ground assault. Additionally, there is a gunner's mount for the main cannon located up top, which rotates 360 degrees and has additional storage for extra accessories and blasters. Moving further along towards the back of the tank is another compartment that is much smaller this time and essentially provides collectors with another option to display their figures, which would be 3 to 4 clones at best. This is probably the least exciting area of the turbo tank, seeing as there's not much detail in this space whatsoever. Lastly, towards the very end of the vehicle is the rear gunner station, which has another member of the platoon who controls the rear turret, which is also able to rotate a full 360 degrees. While the main cannon was able to rotate with ease, this weapon towards the rear is not quite as smooth and was possibly damaged by battle droids. Fortunately, the spring-loaded action of the Bark Speeder will bring reinforcements to the battlefield and ensure another victory for the 212th Clone Battalion. A large button up top will launch the speeder, which can be reloaded on the track for safekeeping, and further highlights the value of this vehicle from way back in the day. All in all, the Clone Wars Turbo Tank is an outstanding addition to my collection and makes for an exceptional display piece. But with all that said and done, let's see this juggernaut take down some separatist forces.